What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a late review for Summer House Martha's Vineyard, you guys, Season 2, Episode 8. And this episode is titled Gossip Girls. And before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, you guys aren't subscribed yet, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode of Summer House Martha's Vineyard, shall we? Now, next week is the season finale, and if you guys don't, so a lot of you guys don't know this about me, but I am someone, when it comes to numbers, right, and ending things or doing things, I am someone who operates on an even scale. I do not like odd numbers. It bothers my spirit. It bothers me so badly to end something on an odd number. And this season is ending with episode 9, and then the reunion is technically it's ending on 10 episodes, but it's ending the season with, 8 episodes plus a reunion. You guys, when it comes to Summer House Martha's Vineyard, I really do enjoy this show, but I'm gonna be quite honest with you guys, and I hope that I'm wrong, but season 3, it's looking a little slim, you guys, because the ratings are not there. I don't know what the next day ratings are like when it comes to Peacock and things of that nature. I'm hoping that those numbers boost them up a little bit because they're really low. Like they're in the low 200. But there's another show, Southern Hospitality, where they got renewed for a season 2 and they had terrible numbers. But I don't know if they got renewed for a season 3. I don't know. I'm hopeful that this show will come back for a season 3. I did see also that Amir was talking to somebody, and he was talking about the fact that if they do get a season 3, he wants Natalie to be there, and if he can't have Natalie there, he doesn't want to be there. Well, let me tell you something, Amir. From me and probably the rest of the viewing public, we don't want you, and we damn sure don't want Natalie. Now let's get into this episode. So we pick up with Bria still going off on Simon, and like I said last week, and I still feel the same way this week, Bria is doing the absolute most. I don't think anybody was paying Simon any bit of attention. And if people did notice Simon, I think people probably was just laughing at him, having fun. He did nothing wrong. Bria blew that whole thing out of proportion, but that's Bria. I don't know why that camera was panned on Noelle up there in their room, pulling her underwear out of her butt. I was like, can y'all not pan it? Like, can y'all not be watching this? So then we see Bria. She is in another room and she's crying. And then Amir came in to try to talk to her about Simon. And I was like, first of all, I damn sure wouldn't take advice from him because this man is henpecked by Natalie. But neither here nor there. But I was confused why Bria was crying because it's like, ma'am, you just went off on the man. So what are we doing here? Make this make sense. Like, I don't get it. But going into season, if we do get a season 3, much like I said last season, we could do without Silas. We could do without Silas next season, and we could also do without Bria, and we could also do without Amir. Believe Milo, Bria. We love Milo, but we don't like you. Bria is just way too extreme for me. And so then, drunk Amir wanted to have a conversation with Simon and with Bria. And it's just like, again, I wouldn't take any bit of advice from this man. His girlfriend talks down to him. She basically, she invalidates him. She demeans him. She emasculates you. She does a lot of things to you, Amir. But if you like it, bro, I love it. Speaking of the devil, aka Natalie. So we see as Bria, Shanice, Noelle, and Natalie were on the hammock outside, and they were having a conversation. Bria once again is talking about the situation with she and Simon. Now, I forgot to mention that the night before, she was ready to pack his stuff and tell him to get out, right? But her mama told her she was being very extreme. And I was like, at least her mama is a voice of reason, because she's right. You're doing the most. Now, Bria is talking about not wanting to invite Simon next summer. Girl, can you not invite yourself? Because that'd be cool too. I would rather Simon over Bria. Like, keeping it real, I would prefer Simon over Bria. Now, when it comes to Amir, I would prefer neither one of them. I wouldn't prefer him, and I don't prefer his girlfriend. That's neither here nor there. So Natalie's messy ass wants to bring up the fact that last night that Tasia was up in her room going to sleep, but Nick was downstairs dancing and trying to get into something. And I was like, what does that mean? And then that sparked this whole conversation about Nick Nick being handsy and things of that nature. And I was like, oh my God. I thought we put this conversation to bed when it came to Jordan and Summer. And I called her by her name this time, you guys, because she ain't done nothing in this episode. But I thought that we ended that with Jordan and Summer, because those were the two people who had a problem with him being handsy. And I can't remember which episode it was this season, but when they took, I think it was in the first few episodes, right? Which we only got 8. We only have 9 episodes. But I think it was like in the first 2 or 3 episodes when they were in the house and they were taking pictures, and I didn't notice that his hand, but the other thing is, I will point out that they did move his hands. I don't remember, and my bad for spitting, y'all. I don't necessarily remember where they moved his hands, but his hands were in a position and they told him to move them this way. Again, I don't remember where they put them, so I'm not gonna say that that he put his hands wherever, or that they put his hands wherever. But my point in saying all that stuff was, I thought we ended this conversation with those two, because those two were the ones who mentioned the handsy stuff. Shanice ain't never said nothing about him being handsy. Bria ain't said nothing about him being handsy. And Shanice, you ain't said nothing about him being handsy. I'm gonna get on Shanice in just a little bit, because I have a problem with some of the things that were said to the man, because I was just like, y'all are being, especially you, Summer, you are, never mind, getting ahead of myself, right? So now Natalie feels like she needs to take this conversation back to Tasia, and I feel like the girl told her it's not that deep or something of that nature, right? But if it's not like that, then why are you guys mentioning this stuff? Like, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't. And then I was like, why is Natalie even a part of this conversation? So the next day we see as they're going to be going for the bike rides, right? Everyone, with the exception of Nick and Tasia, they didn't go. They're going to meet them at the brunch spot because Tasia didn't bring any clothes for the bike ride. And Preston and Donald, I think they stayed at the crib. And so did Bria and Simon. Now, while Bria and Simon are at the crib, Bria wants to have this conversation with Simon. And it's just like, mama. You did the most last night. You want to say he was being disrespectful? He was not being disrespectful because he wore a damn flamingo costume. Simon wanted to have fun. That's all it was. He was just having fun. Nobody said anything to him like, yo, bro, why you got this damn flamingo costume on? Like, you disrespecting me. Nick didn't say he felt disrespected. Nobody in the house said they felt disrespected. People were probably drunk off their ass to even realize. People were like, y'all see this nigga? He got on a flamingo costume. That's probably what it was. But Bria blew everything out of proportion. And so in this conversation, she's making everything about herself. And she says, I've never been disrespectful at anything that you had. Simon said, yes, you have. Now, Bria says that, now this is her experience, and I'm not going to negate or take away from her experience, because if she felt like she was being treated differently because of her race, then that is something that's how she felt. I can't argue against it or for it. I'm just gonna say that's her experience. And we're not gonna take away from her experience no matter how we feel about Bria, right? Now, what I also will say is that bike ride. It looked like it was a long ass bike ride, and then they went to lunch. I'm sorry, it would not have been me, because oh no, I have a thing about that, right? Like, cause me and my friend, my best friend, went in the early morning back when we were in college. Well, she was in college and I had graduated college, but I was working, but I worked in the afternoon. We used to go to a park in our hometown, and we would go for about an hour to an hour and a half walk, right? And sometimes she'd be like, "Oh, we need to," she's not like, "I need to make a stop here." I'm like, "Oh, girl, we just got through walking, and I'm a little sweaty." And I'm sorry, I can't go out to eat. I can't go out to do anything after a workout because I don't want to. I can't be funky. I'm sorry, because that's all I thought about when they were riding them bikes. I'm like, I know y'all funky. And then when Bria sat down, she was talking about how her coochie was sweating. I was like, well, if her coochie sweating and she just sitting there, then I know y'all niggas that was on them bikes smell like sewer rats. And then Amir over here is sick and all that kind of stuff because Amir the night before, him and Preston was drinking. Preston can handle his alcohol. Amir, however, cannot handle his liquor. Well, not that much, right? He tested his limits. So we see them as they sat down for lunch, right? Natalie decided to take it upon herself to want to say to Tasia, I want to have a conversation with you about, just to, catch you up. And I was so glad that Tasia told her, nah, girl, I'm good. I was like, thank you, Tasia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, we're losing Donald and Tasia because they're going back home. I was like, I would prefer to keep Donald and Tasia and let's send this raggedy heifer Natalie back to wherever she came from, right? Let's send this interloper, let's send this colonizer, let's send her back wherever she came from because she is not wanted or needed. Like, period, at all. I just don't, oh God, Natalie. But yeah. So we see as so Preston and Nick took Tasia and Donald to the airport, right? So in the process of taking them to the airport, Nick is texting Natalie about what happened at the table, right? And how Tasia felt. So Natalie is sitting over there, excuse me, Natalie is sitting there talking to Amir, and she's like, should I tell him? Should I tell him? Is he going to be mad at me? I'm like, oh God, go away, girl, go away, go home, go anywhere. But here, we don't want you. We don't like you. Go away. My God, you guys, that girl just seeing her on my screen just bothers me, just irks my spirit, just chaps my ass. Oh, God, I just don't like seeing Tasia. I mean, not Tasia, but Natalie. Oh, Natalie. Go home, Roger. We don't like you. We don't want you here. Please get the and F to the U to the C to the K away from us. I would appreciate that. And take your boyfriend with you. So Natalie, when you go home, take Amir with you. You can also take Bria too. You can also take Bria. But more specifically, you can take that boyfriend that you emasculate. I was gonna say something about Amir, but I think we all pretty. I mean, he told us last season that he was raised by his mom, so he doesn't know his black side. And never mind. Yeah. Again, a henpecked man. Because that's all I get from Amir. That's literally all I get from Amir. So while they're texting, right? And I found it insanely funny to me that with Natalie, she's telling Nick what Bria, what Shanice, and what Noel has said, right? About him being handsy. But it's like you fail to mention the fact that you also clocked in and said that his girlfriend was upstairs. He was downstairs dancing, trying to get into something. Again, I'm gonna ask this question. What does get into something mean? Like, words mean things. And this word that I'm about to say means something too. Get the fuck out of here. Go the fuck away. Go home. Nobody wants you here, Natalie. Those words mean a lot of things. God, that girl is. And so Nick got pissed off, and rightfully so. I'm not upset with Nick for getting pissed off and wanting to have a conversation with him about this, because absolutely, do I feel that Nick 100% wants to be in his relationship? Yeah, I think he likes Tasia, right? I do. But I will say that there are, and this is going back to last summer, the fact that nobody knew about her until she was getting ready to come. I found that interesting. But this summer, from what we saw in filming and what they've shown us on the show, I haven't saw him do anything that was remotely disrespectful to her. And I know people probably will say, well, and we'll get to it, the Shanice thing, we're going to get to that. Because when they got back to the house, Nick was like, he wanted to have a conversation with Shanice, Bria, and Noel. And I felt a way about it. I like Noel, but I did feel a way about Noel because I didn't understand why Noel chimed in and had the conversation with Natalie about the handsy thing, because, again, you could chalk it up to editing. You can say whatever you want to say. But from what editing has shown us on the television screens, Nick hasn't done anything to be disrespectful towards his relationship. And he's definitely done nothing with Noel from what we saw. So I'm confused by that. Shanice, let's get into you real quick. He's not he hasn't been handsy with you, because if Nick were handsy with you, it'd be a different situation. And I'm gonna call out the hypocrisies with Bria and Shanice. Shanice, let's go back to the Freaknik party, right? When Nick had the tattoos, you were ready to pounce all over Nick with them tattoos. You were ready to jump onto Nick. You were ready to jump Nick's bones. You were ready to forget the fact that he had a girlfriend because you were so attracted to him and turned on by him having those tattoos. Let's not forget that, because you want to sit here and talk about he looks. Shanice, you're always naked. Your titties are out, or your vagina. Something is out with you. You ain't got you very rarely have clothes on, Shanice. So I'm sorry. We're human. Natural. We're gonna be like, oh my God, damn it, Shanice ain't got no damn clothes on again. I'm pretty sure, see, the only person who makes a big issue about you being naked is Amir, and that's because he's afraid of fucking Natalie. Amir is the only one that makes, oh my God, Shanice is naked. If I were looking at her, Natalie would have my balls. That's the only person who says anything. The henpecked man over there, Amir. Nick just be like, oh, Shanice is naked again. Nothing new to see here. We done saw her titties plenty of times. We done saw her titties and her cooch plenty of times. So you sit down, shut up, right? Because again, I'm gonna go back to the point what I said a few minutes ago. When Nick had them tattoos on his body at the Freaknik party, you were ready to jump that man's bones. You were ready to forget that he even had a girlfriend named Tasia. It would have been Tasia who? Tasia what? I want Nick. Remember that? Exactly. Shut up. Now, Bria, let's get into you real quick, mama. That man ain't been nothing handsy with you either. So they want to show some clips of Bria twerking, right? And he said, most people do that with, if we're a close-knit group of friends, I'm a egg my friends on. But you egg your friends, especially like when you go to the clubs, right? And your friends, you be like, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. You be egging your friends on. That's what he was doing. Then he made a joke about, well, which Bria doesn't have an ass. It ain't like, and then she was like, take me to brunch or something. Like, he said, yeah, I got, like, nothing with that conversation was disrespectful, especially if we're friends. Like, get the out of here with that. And Bria, let us also mention the fact that when you asked that man to come and sleep in the bed and be your support, your sleep support, do you remember that conversation, Bria? The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is thick with you and Shanice. Y'all both full of shit. Y'all are both full of shit. Like, miss me with the bullshit. And again, like I said, I ain't even mad at Nick for feeling the way he felt. I'm not at all. I'm here for it, right? Because Bria full of shit, Shanice full of shit, and Noel, unfortunately, you're full of shit. Because from what we saw, like I said, y'all could chalk it up to editing or whatever you want to chalk it up to, right? But he hasn't done anything to you. He hasn't said, I don't even think I saw Nick have too many conversations with you, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not saying it in a negative way, but from what we saw, and if he did have conversations with you, it was probably just a friendly banter, friendly conversation. So for y'all to sit here and flip this and make him out to be this creepazoid, it was wrong. And then, Natalie, let me get on your raggedy ass one more time. Go the fuck home. Period. You left out what the fuck you said. And I'm gonna repeat what you said for everybody, including your boyfriend too here, right? You sat out there on that hammock and said to Bria, Shanice, and Noel, he was downstairs dancing. His girlfriend was upstairs asleep. When he was downstairs dancing, he was it looked like he was trying to get into something. I'm going to pose the question once again. What is get into something when his girlfriend is upstairs asleep? What he going to do? Take some, well, I mean, he could, and people could, but what he going to do? Take somebody down to the basement? Shanice was sleeping in the basement because they're in her room and she threw up in the basement. Nasty as fuck, by the way. Like, girl, I get it, right? I get it when you get sick that you throw up into, bags and stuff. But girl, why is it still sitting? Why didn't you? That house is nasty. That's all I got to say, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.